Hi everyone, my name's Veronica and I help teams uncover untapped potential by giving voice to the unspoken. In this video, I'd like to talk about 4 reasons why people don't speak up at work and how you can change this together. Earlier this week, I joined a webinar on the topic of the value of truthfulness. And at the end of the talk, one of the other participants commented on her observations of her own work team and how it appeared to her that no one was willing to speak their truth. And so she said she felt that people would look away, that there was that awkward silence, and that she felt she was the only one that was willing to step into that space. And she was feeling increasingly frustrated, as well as that sensation that she was not being received very well when she did step into speaking her truth. And so here are 4 reasons why I believe people don't speak up at work and how we can change it. The first is we need to establish why we would care. You know, the corporate paradigm has been set up in a way that it's very familiar to get on with all the doing. You know, we focus on task, we focus on all the activity associated with delivering and implementing in terms of what we can see on the surface. So we like to produce things that we can measure. Whereas when we're talking about significant personal behavioral change, which is really what learning to speak up in an environment like the workplace is about, we need to establish what's really important to each individual. Why would they care enough about it in order to step into that place of inner discomfort within themselves and then be willing to share that with the outside world, which is, you know, maybe their team environment. And so establishing why it's important to each individual is about coming to it from a place of shared humanity and what the value of our workday is really about, and what is it that we really want to feel, how do we want to contribute, and what is it doing to us when we live in a perpetual state of feeling that we are suppressing a large part of who we are in our workplaces by not being able to speak up, by not being able to contribute to something that's meaningful and purposeful for ourselves. And essentially it comes down to our commitment to our own well-being, our physical and emotional well-being, as well as our ability to create a day that is filled with meaning and purpose. The second reason is we are humans drawn to comfort and habit. And so there's a lot of research around how much of our day is spent in this autopilot mode, which is really when we are running on our subconscious programming. And when we're doing that individually, we're also doing that together in our team environments, which means we are reliving patterns of behavior all the time. And, you know, there are going to be some patterns of behavior that really serve us and help us in achieving what we need to for ourselves and with each other in our workplaces. But there are also going to be patterns that don't serve us and that they get in the way of us actually being able to really be productive and successful together. And so the way to shift that is to create a foundation within the team environment that is intentionally mindful. And this happens beyond the task delivery. This is about creating a space that as individuals and as the team, we can consciously share the necessary attributes as a team that develop and nurture the values of trust. You know, we learn how to own our stories, we learn how to own our emotions, and we learn how to be able to see different perspectives within the team environment, which gives us the ability to harness diversity, and it gives us the ability to step into new action. The third is that we are humans, and the unspoken is usually filled with our deepest fears. And so when we are in the habit of not speaking up, we're most likely going off on our own inner dialogue and own imagination around our deepest fears. And so we may show a certain persona and mask to the rest of the world, while what's happening behind the scenes is something quite different to that. And the way to shift it is to create a conscious team environment where we understand that the change is everybody's to own, and that it's not a judgment around whether or not, things are bad or things are good. It's just an exploration that if we leave things unspoken and if we don't speak up in times when we're uncomfortable, it doesn't mean that they disappear. It means that they sit there and they fester and they build. And so in order for us to really create an environment that we find fulfilling and trusting and nurturing and safe, it takes us all to step into that action together. And the fourth reason is that learning to hold the space for relating in new team ways requires new skills and practices. And so while we spend a lot of our focus in the corporate environment on the planning and the doing of the measurable performance activities, the business activities that we can see on the surface, the same needs to apply for being able to develop the skills and practices that we need in order to support the team's behavioural change process. And so often we leave it to chance and we focus on the deliverables and the measurables on the surface, whereas I believe that we have the opportunity to apply that same rigour and intentional commitment to our team behavioural change, and that's necessary in order for us to develop new ways. And so we apply a planned approach. We collaborate in that. We co-create it. We look at the things that we don't usually want to look at, but we look at them with a curious mind because we have established a foundation of trust where we own our own perspectives and we have that safety around being able to own our own emotions. And we accept that there is a natural human process of holding the space for the change. Sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels like we're going 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. But there is a natural process for holding the space, that there is a common human flow, and that when we pay attention to that, we give ourselves and each other the best opportunity to co-create a thriving environment. And so if you'd like to explore this further with me, I would love to have a scoping call with you. You can book it yourself via this link here, via Calendly, or you can message me under the post and I'd love to speak with you. So I wish you a magical workday and thank you very much for spending this time with me.